Surprising bright spot in a recent gloomy housing market. Illegal immigrants remain a reliable group of borrowers, at least for now. But as the government cracks down on employers of undocumented workers, is this all about to change? Well, let's bring in Dani Babb. She's a real estate expert and the co-author of Finding Foreclosures. Dani, good morning. Glad to have you.
Good morning.
How is it even possible for illegal immigrants, undocumented workers to get a mortgage when they don't even have a social security number? I'm curious how that happens.
They can get an individual taxpayer identification number, which allows them to pay taxes, and some mortgage companies will lend using an ITIN.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then that explains that. Well, let's look at some numbers because I was thinking, how's that going to happen? Anyway, let's look at the numbers. The 5 states with the most foreclosures are Nevada, Colorado, California, Michigan, and Florida. The 5 states with the biggest illegal immigration population, again, California, Arizona, Texas, Nevada, and Illinois. Nevada and California showing up in both lists. How do you respond to critics who say major problems are going to be caused by those loans that won't be able to be issued for these undocumented workers?
Well, actually, about 70% of undocumented workers are in the the lower end of the income spectrum, and they're actually not even able to afford homes in these states, and they haven't been able to throughout the early 2000s. Some of them are pooling their money and purchasing lower end housing, like in Sacramento and Stockton, in the farm areas in Arizona and in California.
Wouldn't, though, an illegal immigrant, wouldn't that inherently make for a bad credit risk for any bank?
Well, you'd think so, but you know, I went into my research believing that's what I would find when I did it myself. But what we're actually seeing is that with the over 9% default rate in the subprime markets, these illegal immigrants actually have a 1/2% default rate, which is 18 times lower than American subprime borrowers, and it's half as low as a prime borrower with perfect credit in the United States. That's an American citizen.
And there's this one system for evaluating the illegal immigrants, and that enables the banks to consider these non-traditional homes. That's where families are living together, the resources are all pooled together. Is it right to grant loans using these standards, which are definitely different, when so many, legal Americans, they're having a tough time getting approved? I mean, that's what all the buzz is about of late. Yeah, well, that's one of the downsides, obviously. That's one of the reasons a lot of lenders won't lend to illegal immigrants, is because of the public outcry for exactly that reason. I just know that from a statistical standpoint, their risk is lower, and that banks have found creative ways to determine whether they're going to pay their bills. They look at their grocery tabs in Mexico. They look at their utility bills, and they try and get an assessment on overall how willing they are to pay their rent. And what we're finding is that they're putting their housing costs above everything else because they're concerned they won't be able to buy a home in the future. So it becomes such a priority that they don't lose their homes. Well, who knew, I guess, is the question. I'm very surprised by the statistics, but I'm glad you're clearing things up for us. Dani Babb, we'll talk again with you later this morning. Thank you.
Thanks.
A big mess on a Michigan highway after a semi-truck